All right, folks, it's 4 o'clock, not 6. I got things to do today, Dusty do too. So we're breaking you the show a little bit early today, folks. Don't worry about that. We're going to come with the same fire, the same stories, just about 2 hours early. Because life be life, baby. From the West Coast to the East Coast and everything between, folks. From Eve After Dark to concerts in the park. You are live with your boy Lonzo, the Godfather of West Coast hip hop. We do this every Tuesday, somewhere around this time, y'all. We got to drop the game, drop the knowledge, and keep it coming to you. I got my man Dusty in the room. I'm Batman, he Robin. I think I'm going to be Kato. Fuck the Green Hornet. Dusty, what's up with you, Doc?
What up, Lons? How you doing, my dude?
You know what, dude? It's good, man. I can't complain. When you do like I do most of the time, and you're always in different circles, I'm always learning shit, man. I'm always learning some new stuff, and that just makes my day, dude. That's a Gemini thing. You know how we are. We love learning and experiencing things. So I'm looking forward to experiencing new things. I ain't gonna talk about it. I don't want to jinx it, but when you see it, I start doing this show from a remote area.
Yeah.
You know, it's brother to hit something. Go ahead. Let's talk about it.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. A lot to talk about. Before you guys get comfortable, hit that like button and please let the algorithm know we exist. Yeah, I told you earlier, man, I'm looking forward to these Lakers, man. Tell me about the golden era of the Lakers, man. What do you remember? You know, the 80s, even going before then. I don't know too much about the early Lakers, you know, before the quote dream team with, you know, Cooper, the white dude, what was his, Ramsey, you know. Yeah, can you tell us about maybe a little bit the Lakers a little bit before that?
I wasn't a big Laker fan. You heard about Wilt Chamberlain and folks like that back in the day, you know, scoring 100 points. When I was a kid, I wasn't really a big Laker fan. But when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar came out here, he changed the game a lot. And then Magic came, that changed the game even more. And then they started building because basketball back then was a different kind of sport than what they playing right now. This bullshit right now. They was gangs and underwear. They was like gangs and underwear back in the day, Doc. They was, you know, Detroit didn't give a damn about no LA dudes, okay? Detroit, Chicago, Philadelphia, dude, they came to play and they came to fight. And if somebody made a basket from time to time, that was cool too. I remember Kareem, when he came into the league, I think it was Bill Walton. He used to whoop his ass all the time. He beat him up under the hoop. And it was Bill Walton and somebody else was always giving Kareem a hard time. And Kareem took his ass down to Bruce Lee's karate class and learned some karate moves. He became a karate man, okay? And that big long motherfucker was in the hoop at the free throw line, whooping ass, okay? Because he never was a punk. He just was a long, skinny kid. And, you know, these old dudes, it was a different game. Like I said, they elbow you, hit you upside the head, push you around. It was a different game, dude. And Kareem got tired of that shit. He went and got into karate lessons and became a karate man and started kicking ass. And they changed a lot of shit. And then he developed the sky hook. That sky hook was beautiful, man. That sky hook was beautiful. That was my shot when I was a kid, the sky hook. I watched him do it. And then nobody else could do it. And you never seen anybody else duplicate it again. When Magic came along, you saw a different kind of spark that you never saw before. You know, Dr. J was a bad boy, but Dr. J was a little older, but Magic came in. Magic like my age, okay, right now. So Magic come in. I can relate to Magic a little bit different, but I was watching a video just the other day with Magic talking about Dr. J, how Dr. J pulled a move on Cooper, Michael Cooper, that made Magic get a whole new respect for Dr. J. Dr. J was in his mid-30s, maybe a little older, and he whooped some shit around there on Coop. And Magic had to go sit down for a minute. And then when Kobe came, and Shaq came, well, let me back up. When Rambus, you had Rambus, Worthy, and then you had Byron Scott, then you had Norm Nixon, you had all these cats around the same time. And when Rambus came on the field, somebody's finna get their ass whooped. When Superman came out with them glasses on, Superman had 6 files to give, and he gonna give you all of them hard. Whoever is the hot scorer, fitting to get his ass whooped. Okay, Rambus is going to beat your ass, and then they brought in Dennis Rodman later on to do the same kind of thing. Dennis Rodman did it. He did it with Chicago for a while. And next thing you know, he got a Laker jersey on. That's what Phil. So you got all these different transitions, and because when the Lakers played Detroit, Lambeer and them cats, and even when they played Boston, the dudes didn't give a damn about no black dudes. Two white boys didn't care. I can whoop y'all ass, okay? They was like, fuck it, I don't care. And you had to have some enforcers on your team. That's what they were, enforcers, to guard the lane. If you come down this lane, you finna end up on your back. And you're gonna feel it some way, form, or fashion. Take them free throws. You're gonna be wobbly any damn way. And then shortly after that, Kobe came in, man, with a Kobe Shaq combination was phenomenal. The first Kareem Norm Nixon situation, that was cool, but it didn't really click until Magic got there. You start seeing the big man and the point guard connect. Okay, that became the Lakers' go-to offense. The big man versus the point guard, with the point guard, and everybody else was role players, but you had some badass role players. You got James Worthy, you got AC Green, you got all these cats, man, who was, at any given moment, somebody can put up 20 or 30, but you know, when it comes down to the paint, you ain't gonna get past Shaq's big ass. And Kobe's a threat anywhere on the court. And he got passing power, passing potential to pass it to anybody that's gonna make something happen, man. So yeah, it was just a different type of game, man. And I don't even really watch it no more like I used to. I love watching Allen Iverson. I even like watching a white boy, Jason Williams. Was Jason Williams the tricky dude that be doing that street ball bullshit? Clyde Drexler, Dwayne, all these cats, man.
Dwayne Wade, all those guys.
Yeah, they were different. It was a different game, dude. It wouldn't be shit for somebody to lead a game with a bloody nose. Okay, Kareem had to wear goggles. They was poking him in the eye so damn much. He had to put on some goggles. Okay, and cats started wearing little helmets. They had little helmets, little special needs helmets. And they had to ban that shit down, man. Then they had the face mask, because people was busting people's noses. They bust you in the nose in a minute, okay? So at that era, folks had to wear protective headgear just to play basketball. Different kind of era, okay? I met Michael Cooper. Well, I've been knowing him I met him a while ago. I met him in person. We reconnected a few weeks ago. And we was laughing about his long ass socks and his short ass shorts. And I said, people laugh at that shit now, man. But that was everybody wore them. Even on the streets, you wore long ass socks and short ass shorts. That was what we did. I got videos of us setting up doodles, and one of my guys got the same combination: socks up to his knees and draws. His shorts barely covered his nuts.
Yep. Good looking out, Rad 7. Appreciate you, man. Let's read this. Let's get to his question before we hop into the meat and potatoes of the show. But Rad 7 says, Lonzo, do you remember hearing about the Death Row launch party at Chasen's Grammy weekend in 1992?
Yes, I did. Yes, I do. I remember that shit very vividly. They had a passed out invitations in the form of a summons. You have been summoned to the grand opening of Death Row. It was all written in like a legal form to the jailbreak or something like that of Death Row, breakout of Death Row Records. It was really an interesting situation. I didn't go, heard about it before and after, and it was kind of interesting for me. I've always been a little bit different when it came to looking something from a bigger perspective. I saw where they were going, but I knew based on where they was trying to go, it was going to be a limited residency because that shit ain't the shit y'all trying to bring to the Beverly Hills. You may do it a couple of times, but it ain't gonna last. It ain't gonna be no lasting situation. That was always my opinion. Okay, as you can see, as time told, I was right.
Yeah, man. Damn. Yeah, keep your questions coming if you have any questions. It doesn't even just have to be about hip hop or Lonzo's, history. If you have any questions about Lonzo's opinion on anything going on in the news or anything like that, comment down below, and you'll definitely get extra priority if you drop a few bucks in the bucket. We do appreciate that. But let's discuss something, Lonzo, a clip that you sent me. And shout out to Boss Talk 101. They have a really dope podcast, and I encourage everybody out there to check them out. They always have great guests. And one of those great guests was my co-host, Lonzo Williams. Now, a topic that was brought up on this interview, Lonzo, and I know the story and I know the truth behind this, but why did you make Dre wear all those crazy ass sequin suits, Lonzo?
You know what? You would think I was some kind of taskmaster or just some kind of bully. Just put the damn suit on, nigga. Man, I was the farthest thing from the truth. I back in the day when Dre first came to me, Dre had bought a white doctor smock. We got a picture of it, a white doctor smock, and it was something he just picked up. I think his mom might have got it for him. I'm not sure. And we had on a bunch of mixed max shit. We were at Dudos, took this picture. We was all broken. The joke, I'm the only one that could buy a 6-pack of anything. And we decided to do our world-class album cover. I wanted to do something different. Like I said in the podcast, I wasn't wearing no feathers. I'm not wearing no spacesuit. I'm not wearing no moccasins. I'm gonna do something different. And we always was kind of smooth here in LA. That was always our get down. And we went down to my boy Mike the Tailor Man, who's still alive in Vegas, doing suits right to this day, my partner. And he hooked me up. Or he hooked us up. So, hey man, bring the material. I'll do each one of them for $100 a piece, something like that. And that sequence is expensive as shit. Okay, that shit's expensive. It was like shit, $20, $30 a yard back then. And my suit material was like almost $150. All I had was a jacket. But Dre, because his is a full-length coat, his is the most expensive out of anybody's. His was the most expensive out of anybody's, okay? I had to front the money for it. If you look at Yella and Clientele just got some fringes. They got collars, and they didn't do like Dre did. And it just, it was just interesting that I always get blamed for have people do it. I ain't never made nobody do nothing. That's not my personality. That's not my personality. But hold on, I'm gonna step off screen for a second. Talk to him. I'm gonna show you something.
Go for it. Lonzo's gonna break some down for us. Yeah, man. If you guys have any questions, definitely comment down below. Really enjoy doing this show. It's real West Coast hip hop history right here, man. This is not the fake stuff. This is the authentic West Coast hip hop history. Very glad to be a part of it. I hope you guys are too. If you have any questions, comments, anything like that, comment down below. But shout out to Gary's Garage, the homie Sedborn 303, Rad 7 once again for shooting us that donation. Man, Vista Light, JB. I see Sarah Catherine in the building. We don't get too many women in the building, so I want to welcome her, make her feel comfortable, give her a nice welcome, guys. What you got for us, Lonzo?
Man, look, I'm a hoarder, dude. I still got my suit right here, dude. I still got my suit right here. Okay, that's the original suit from the 1984 World Class album. I can't do shit with it now. Okay, I can't do a damn thing with it. Okay, it won't even go up my arm. All right, it won't go up my son tried to put it on. He couldn't even put it on. But this is the original suit from 1984, the World Class album. I'm gonna hold up. I'm gonna block my face for a minute so y'all can see it. Okay. And in the back, I have it was designed after my prom suit. My prom suit was a white ducktail tuxedo. You know, brothers wore ducktails back in the day. Ducktails was the coolest shit in the world. Okay. And I wanted a ducktail cut suit for my Wreckin Cru suit. But because I also like Jim West from Wild Wild West, he wore waistline jackets. Y'all remember that, y'all? Actually, mama about Wild Wild West, Jim West. So I made my tail detachable. Okay, I had a detachable tail on my tuxedo suit, so it got Velcro on it. Look at it, you can see it. Got Velcro on it, and I would wear it. I wear the whole suit on the show, doing the show, a live show, and at some point in time, clientele, Dre or Yella, would do something, snatch it off of me. And it was kind of just like a little prop thing, but people would go crazy over that shit. Okay, and that's what we did. I found a black glove to go along with the shit. I just found a black glove somewhere in some store. We was in Melrose, and I found a pair of sequence gloves, and that was my shit. The gloves, I got the glove in a case with my with me wearing this suit, and my earring. I still got all that shit. I never been ashamed of my Wreckin Cru days, man. That was my fucking heyday, dude. I love that shit, and I don't care who ain't proud of it, who went on to do bigger and better things, but that was my shit, and I'll always be proud of it. I still got it. Now I will sell it for the right number. Talk to the museum. Come holler at me. I'm not donating shit. Okay, if you want it, you got to pay for it. Anyway, go ahead.
There it is. Now, EAZY famously paid for some of these pictures of Dre and his sequence posing and all that to add to the disc that eventually became Real Muthaphuckkin G's legendary classic song. Can you break down that time for us, Lonzo? Talk about how much you charged EAZY for that. You know, did Dre give you any backlash? Because obviously they had to come from you.
We did a photo shoot, man. We hired a cat named Phil Bedell. Phil Bedell was our photographer, and Phil was one of the few photographers that would give you all your backup shot, all your extra shots. I've always hired him. I've always used him, and every time we got through, he'd give me a proof sheet, and whatever we were doing that proof sheet, clowning or whatever the case, he would just be shooting sometime. He'd get the shots that he wanted, then we start clowning, and one of those shots, Dre was doing some goofy shit, kind of clowning, and Eric thought he had some lipstick on. He never had no lipstick on. And excuse me. And when they got into the beef, I got a call from Jerry Heller. Hey man, you have one of those suits, one of those pictures with Dre in a dress. I said, Dre never wore no dress. You know what I'm talking about? That white, his white thing. Oh, what we talking? 2,500? Cool. You got it. And just licensed it to him. That's all. And they wouldn't doctor it. It did doctor it a little bit, but hey, it is what it is, man. You know, 2,500, 2,500. Okay?
Hell yeah, especially back then.
I wasn't mad at nobody. Ain't nobody. Hey. I tell you what, write me a check. You have all that shit. Right? You don't want it. Hey, I still got all that shit. Write me a check. You can have a world-class bonfire. I can give a damn. That's my opinion.
Now, Yella has a video with Vlad TV right now, and he mentioned something that I didn't know about the origins of the name N.W.A. But he mentioned that Yomo from Yomo and Mali made up the name N.W.A. Did you know that? And what can you tell us about Yomo and Mali? Because I know we've talked about them in the past.
Hold on. Let me see something right quick, Doc. Let me grab my
Uh-oh.
and see if I can get Yomo on the phone. Let him tell you himself. Hold on there.
That's why I love this show.
Let's see if he's available.
Hit that like button. Hit that like button.
Come on, man. He might be at work. I'm gonna leave him a message at least.
This is Yomo. Leave a message.
Yeah, Yomo, this is Lonzo. I'm live on the air with my man Dusty Vision doing my podcast. Your name came up in the conversation about you being the person that came up with the name N.W.A. I was calling to see if you wanted to verify or deny that one way or another. If you get this message between now and 5 o'clock, give me a holler back. All right, peace. Hope all is well, Doc.
Now that would be a good one to have on the show. Maybe we can work on getting him as a guest in the near future.
I think he works in the evenings. That's why we talked about the show, but it was a time conflict. I had to find out what it is exactly. That was a while ago. But go ahead.
Okay. But yeah, can you tell us about Yomo and Mali? What do you remember about them? Give us a little background of their history.
Yomo was a youngster, right? He's a big youngster, man. I don't remember a whole lot about a lot of these cats. I know him, but if he started talking to me, he would refresh my memory. Put it that way. I tell people I had so many cats coming through here, man, and they stopped coming around when they was youngsters. I didn't see them again until they was grown men. Now, Negro, you done gained 40 pounds, bald head, and fat as fuck. So I don't remember this. I don't remember the version I'm looking at right now. I got to see a picture of the old version so I can relate it to the new version. So I can't give you a whole lot on him, but he called me back. He gave me some stories that jogged my memory, but I can't think of it offhand right now as you asked about it.
Yeah. Well, for anyone who doesn't know, I'm looking at their profile right now. They worked with EAZY E. They were signed to Ruthless Records. They did vocals on the DLC's album, No One Can Do It Better. They were more, instead of a gangster rap group, they were more along the lines of a Public Enemy type of political style, Yomo and Mali. That was their thing. And one of their probably biggest pieces of their story is they had a song called For the Love of Money. And apparently that song was originally supposed to go to Yomo and Mali. EAZY E gives the beat to Bone Thugs and Harmony. The rest is history. For the Love of Money. But that was originally supposed to be a Yomo and Mali song. But yeah, man, one day we can hopefully get him on the group. That would be on the show. That would be real dope.
When Bone Thugs and Harmony came to LA, a lot of cats got pissed because EAZY had promised to put guys in the studio. And all of a sudden, these guys from Cleveland come in and cut the line. They just jumped in front of everybody. Hey, man, what happened? Oh, man, and EAZY was a businessman. He's like, hey, man, these boys got something different. Y'all saying the same shit the same way everybody else is. They got something different. Let's see what happens. And the rest is history.
I have a question for you, Lonzo. I would love to know what your favorite hip-hop based movie is. There's so many of them out there, from Crush Groove to Straight Outta Compton to Tupac's to 8 Mile. What is your favorite hip-hop based movie?
I like 8 Mile a lot, man. I like 8 Mile a lot because 8 Mile was it was like, yeah, I did it, but I know he kept his senses the whole time. He choked, kicked ass, won, and went back to work. That was dope, man. He didn't play it off like he was gonna be, this is it. Nah, I did a good thing. I won tonight, but I still got to feed my folks, And I think I like the realness of 8 Mile. That was probably the one that attracted me the most. Not to say I don't like Straight Outta Compton, although I found a lot of flaws in that son of a bitch right there, boy. I found a lot of flaws in that, boy. Woo! But I ain't mad. I'm represented and in the movie, so I'm gonna let them do what they do. I can't change it. So, but I know I saw a lot of flaws.
I want to talk about that. Let's talk about the first time you see Straight Outta Compton. Obviously, you're going in it with a different ear, a different eye than the average viewer who knows nothing, most likely, about what's going on or what went on behind the scenes. But talk to us about when you originally saw Straight Outta Compton for the first time. Where were you mentally? Did you have any pre-notes, whatever I'm trying to say, the word I'm trying to say, going in to watching the movie? Talk to me about that time.
I was at the premiere, and me and my buddy was kicking it, and we sitting up there watching the movie, and my character shows up on the stage. Now I saw part of the recording of the movie as they were making it, so I was familiar with how my character looked. I wasn't totally familiar with his character overall. I heard him, talk crazy to Dre in that little mirror scene, but I didn't really know his whole demeanor. And to be played as a hater, like, why I got to be the hater? Okay, why am I the hater? And they never talked about Wreckin Cru. They never talked about Wreckin Cru in the movie. They never said Wreckin Cru in the movie. They never said I was a part of the group. All they said was Lonzo got me wearing these marching jackets. Okay. And they showed a picture of the jacket, and Yella had on one, Dre had on one, and EAZY clowned him. Okay. I'm the promoter, but they didn't put me in no jacket. I'm just doing Lonzo shit, combing my Jerry curl, giving Dre a hard time because he played this record in my club in my movie, and I was excited to see myself portrayed because a lot of people don't get that privilege, man. I was excited to one extent, and I was disappointed in another because they clown me a little bit, okay, and they made me out to be the bad guy.
They're looking out. Rashard Cobb, much love, brother.
Much love, Doc. Thank you very much. I wasn't mad. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, Rad 7. My bad, Rad 7.
Rad 7. I wasn't mad. I was happy because I knew my life was going to change. But I knew I was going to answer some questions, and I'm still asking questions right to this fucking day. Okay. And for the most part, it's cool because I've had a chance to, in the past 10 years. Think about it. That movie's 10 years old, man. In the last 10 years, I still use that movie as a reference. And people did. Right before I had this podcast, I was talking to a cat who I know through business, and we were talking. And said, "Man, I saw you on this documentary called Welcome to Death Row." I said, "Oh yeah." He said, "You don't know who I am, do you?" He said, "You Lonzo." I said, "Have you ever seen the movie Straight Outta Compton?" He said, "I watched it last night." I said, "The club owner giving Dre a hard time about playing." That's you. Oh, that's you. I said, "Yeah, dude." He's playing me in the fucking movie. So I'm still 10 years later. People have not connecting my role in this game, and that's one of my missions. Before I check up out of here, is to make sure everybody know what the fuck I did. Anyway,
let's take a trip to the East Coast, Lonzo. When you first saw Crush Groove, which is arguably, the first big hip hop movie, had some big heavyweights, Run DMC, LL Cool J, New Edition. When you first saw Crush Groove, you're on the West Coast doing your thing, just getting your feet wet and learning your way through this music game. When you first watched that movie, what were your general thoughts?
Nothing. It was cool, but it wasn't nothing that I ever experienced. I ain't never had no building that had to be saved by some white people or gonna be demolished because or to go out to save,
Crush Groove. That was the East Coast. That was with Run DMC. It was a story of Russell Simmons basically in Def Jam with the Fat Boy.
Yeah, I remember it vaguely. I haven't seen it in so long. Put it this way, I never watched it. I only watched it one time. That was the first came out. I don't remember enough about it to even speak on it right now. One thing about me, if I don't recall, I'm gonna shut up. But I will watch it just to refresh myself.
Yeah, watch it. Watch it sometime. I think it's a well put together movie. It even holds up, 40 years later. But what was the worst hip hop based movie you think you've seen?
I think the worst hip hop thing I've seen, movie I saw, was the shit that Nas did.
Belly?
Huh? No. It was a series they had on Netflix. They were singing and dancing. It was like they turned hip hop into like a let's call that shit East Side Story. And they was doing that. It was really it. Some people loved it, but I didn't like it at all. Oh damn! Y'all help me out. I'm
looking it up right now.
It was a series on Netflix or one of them streaming channels, produced by Nas, and it was a musical. That it was like, huh?
Is it Watch Rapture? Oh, Rapture? Or The Get Down? The Get Down?
The Get Down.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, that was. I was like, huh? Why you thought that was a good idea? And anybody, I mean, some people may have liked it, but it ain't never hit nobody's popularity contest, as far as I can know, as far as I know. I don't recall.
I didn't even know that existed. It says it lasted one season only. Yeah, so it must have not been that good.
It was not a good documentary. It was not a good portrayal of what hip hop was like anywhere. It was some musical shit. You know, hip hop was gritty, man. Hip hop was gritty. Even in LA, before we even got to be gangsters, this shit was gritty. It had some grime to it. And that's the part you have to be. You had to be there to know how this shit got where it is and why certain players did not pursue certain situations based on the facts, not them bullshit. You know the facts about these LA streets back in the 70s, late 70s, the early 80s. As a grown man, you knew what to play, where not to play. Kids stumbled into shit and made it work for them, but grown men, if that ain't what you do, stay your ass away from over there.
There it is. We're halfway through the show, so I'm going to remind everyone to hit that like button. If you haven't already, just smash it really quick. That helps us out more than you can imagine. You are tuned in to N.W.A. Stories with Lonzo. I am Dusty Vision. That is Lonzo Williams, the godfather of West Coast hip-hop. Do your Google search, and you will find out that this man is responsible for so many careers. And I'm so glad to be part of this show, and I hope you guys are too. And definitely hit that subscribe button if this is your first time joining the channel. Now, Lonzo, you mentioned in your Dr. Green Thumb interview a few weeks ago that I would highly encourage everyone to check out Dr. Green Thumb, aka Be Real from Cypress Hill. But the part that I found very fascinating, and it was just a brief mentioning of it, and I would love for you to go a little bit deeper into it, was your outdoor parties. But specifically, what caught my ear was when you were explaining the various ways that you would get electricity since you didn't have a generator. Can you break that down for us?
In 1977, a DJ going to the park was unheard of. And people always like having picnics. Picnics was a big thing back in the 70s, man. We always had picnics. Every once in a while, somebody would bring a house stereo out there and, you know, plug it up some way, form, or fashion, and have an inverter or a mobile home will be out there. Somebody could plug it. You know, mobile homes got electricity and shit. But because I'm from the 70s and I had electrical class at Vanguard and Centennial, and my daddy was a handy Andy. Shit, I knew how to pop open a damn a circuit and get electricity. And all you needed was a screwdriver, some duct, and some black tape. And I would go into the bathroom. Every bathroom has a little flat plate in it where at some point in time, either there was a receptacle or there was a plug for something. And I'd go in the bathroom, take the two screws off, carefully pull out the negative and the positive wire. And at the end of all your extension cords, there's a hole on each side. All you gotta do is run your wire through that hole, bend it a little bit, put some tape on it, both sides, and you got power. And I had me 100-foot extension cord, and I run that son gun to my truck, and I plug up my shit. Everything was running off of one damn power supply. I didn't have a big system back then. I only had two speakers, a medium-sized amp, and my turntable. All that shit was plugged into power strips. I didn't know nothing about ampage, wattage, none of that shit. All I know is when I turned the switch on, the shit worked. And if I turned it up too loud, everything would cut off. The circuit breaker inside the power strip would kick off, and I had to kick it back on. And sometimes the extension cord would get hot as fuck. Didn't know why. Now I know. Too much goddamn power amperage on that goddamn extension cord. And the white ones, the house cords, just burnt the fuck up. Okay? The white ones, they just burnt up. So one day I'm at Peg Park, and this bike club come out there, man, and I'm jamming my ass off, and this about 50 bikers, and they got their own DJ, they got their own sounds, they want my electricity. I've been playing for like 2 hours, it had no problem, but these cats set up shop a little bit further on the other side of the trees, and they unplugged my shit. And I plugged it back up, but it's bikers. I'm out here by myself. Just me and my old lady and a couple of buddies, but these niggas ain't no backup. So we finally had to compromise, and we plugged the power strip. We plugged in a power strip to the outlet of the bathroom, and we each took an outlet. Now, they shit was nowhere near as powerful as mine, and that shit kept cutting off. But it was only a few minutes before I left anyway because I had to go and set up for the gig. So it just made for an interesting story. But yeah, that's how I got my power, man. I go to the bathroom and hook up some shit. And because sometimes even outside, they have outside plugs You could just flip them up because there was nothing to plug in back in the day but extension cords. Wasn't no phone charger. Nobody charging no phones up. You know, they had a little outdoor plug, sometimes lift it up, or it may be a flat plug on top of that one. Tie that something together, tape it up, and you got power. You got to be slick in the day of back in the day, baby.
And you said that was 1977, right?
1977, yeah.
Okay. So is that something that you learned yourself? Did you learn that from someone? And what I'm getting to is, do you know if people were doing that years before in LA specifically? You know, say even in 1972 when hip hop supposedly started on the East Coast?
No, I don't know about that. In LA, nah. In LA, wasn't nobody in the park but me. You had every once in a while somebody would bring out a stereo system or a big boom box. Or, you know, think about this. In the 70s, excuse me, in the 70s, we had component sets. We had just got component sets in the 70s. Okay. Before then, we had them big ass mama stereos. Okay. The one looked like a couch. In the 60s, we had them big ass, the speakers, the record shelf. It was made out of wood. Open that big motherfucker like a big ass coffin for real. Okay. You can hide babies in this motherfucker. And in the 70s, we got component sets. And that's what they would bring. They would bring component sets to the park. If you had a Sanyo component set or a Kai component set, you had a little something at the house. You had something at the house. That shit ain't gonna do nothing in the park. It's gonna be good for about 10 to 15 people in the park. All you can do is blow your speakers up. And then you guys, I'm out here with professional shit. I'm out here with a PA system. Now, I didn't have a real DJ system per se. I had a PA system. I rented from this music store, and my shit is 150 watts peak. So I'm bumping like a motherfucker until my power surge protector kick off. Different time, baby. Different time.
Sounds like so much fun, man. Hey, Stim Radio had a question. Do you know any thing about Canine Posse?
No.
No, okay, yeah, that's not one that I'm too familiar with either. Sorry, Stim. I know that's a question from last week. I just wanted to get into it real quick. But let's talk about something else that I found interesting, Lonzo. During these parties, you mentioned that sometime your records will get warped. Can you explain to people, you know, what warp means and how you had special ways of fixing that?
You have when you're out in the sun, because see, the sun moves. You can park your van in the shade at 10 o'clock in the morning. By noon, that shit is shifted. So the sun is beaming down on your records. And as it goes around on your turntable, it starts to get hot. When a record is first made, that motherfucker is flexible as paper. It's flexible as paper. So as it gets hot, it starts to get flexible again. And sometimes that shit will warp. And if you don't know what you're doing, and it gets hot, it starts to warp. And as long as it's a smooth warping, it'll still stay in the groove. But when it get too sharp, it should start jumping. But while it's hot, you got to take the record off the turntable and sit some more records on top of it to let it cool back, to flatten back out. And it took a while to learn that, because sometimes you play records and you don't know what you're doing. You take the hot record off, that motherfucker, I ain't gonna say it would melt, but it would be very flimsy. It loses all that rigidness that you have when you first put it on there, because then it got hot again. Or you can put it in the oven on real low, let it heat back up and flatten it back out again. All that is.
Did you say there was something with an iron that you would use, an iron or something? Did I hear that correctly?
No, I didn't use an iron.
Okay. An oven. Wait, you said
put it on the oven about 90 to 100 and then heat up real slow. Because if you put it too hot, it's gonna melt. Period. But let it get a little warm, and then you take it out real like a pizza. Take it out and lay it on the table and put some on top of it, then it'll flatten back out.
Okay. Yeah, these kids, I feel like if you guys were doing something extraordinary back then, and most of the kids nowadays wouldn't even, if they had to throw something like this and do everything that you guys were doing, there would be no parties.
I was telling my buddy just yesterday, if you gave kids today a map written in cursive, a car with a stick shift, and a map period, they'd be lost in a motherfucker.
Thomas guy.
Thomas guide. Be lost in the motherfucker. Okay. Nigga, what is this? Okay. And what language is it in? Nigga, this is cursive. What is cursive? Okay. Why are you talking shit? And don't put them in a car with roll down windows. Okay. They'll burn up, they'll explode. They'll be like gremlins in the oven. Pow. Okay. Yeah.
That's funny. I have a question, Lonzo. Did you ever, one of the first things I did as a kid, stupidly, was, whenever I get a good sum of money, I'd go get a big sound system for my car. The bigger the better. The amps, the speakers, for my car specifically, not for my studio or anything. But did you ever go through that phase where you just had to be bumping in your car?
Dusty, when I was really low riding back in the day, we didn't have amps. We had to go and grab speakers at the house. We go get an old stereo system and plug the speakers up. You ain't had no. We didn't get EQs until the 70s. Okay, you had to get. Our thing was, we just wanted loud. It didn't have to bump. It just had to be loud. I had a Malibu with bucket seats in it, and the bucket seats had a metal plate in the back of it. So what I did, I took the metal plate off, cut a hole for my not my 6x9s, but my 6-inch speakers. And when I wanted to bump my shit, I just laid my seats down and let the shit just park in front of my girl's house, making a bunch of noise. That shit didn't have no rattle to it at all. It just was noisy. Plus, but we had a little more finesse. We had color bars. We had a little bar in the car, the music go jumping and shit. Then we had, as we ride down the street, we had lights under our wheel wells and shit. And you ride down the street, and all you see these two lights in this car, and the car inside the car changing colors and shit. And I got the big old bird on the hood, nigga, with shit. And the bird and the lights under the wheel wells is the same color. You can't tell me shit, Dusty. I'm not listening. I'm not listening. Okay. See, I was a car enthusiast since I was like 14 years old. I got my first car when I was 14. So, and I knew we had auto shop. We knew how to fuck with cars. All we had was carburetor. All you had to know was carburetor, distributor, gas, and timing. If you understood that part about the car, you can get as long as it was, you found the high point of what's that? Damn it, where everything lines up at, and you get the book and your spark plugs, you had to gap your spark plugs and make sure as long as you got fuel in the air, your car's supposed to fire up. We had to worry about points. Y'all ain't got no points. Points was that little thing that had the rotor cap. Yeah, man, that shit's gone now. It's just old school. But back in the day, that's all we had. And we learned that shit in the 9th grade. So we working on cars, greasy as fuck with wrenches and pliers and shit, changing the alternators and all kind of crazy shit. That was our get down back in the day. But I never really had the sounds. I mean, we only had shit, man. We had 6 wires to put the stereo together back in the day. Yeah, 6 wires back in the day. You had a ground, a negative, and 2 speaker wires. That was it. And I opened up a radio in the 90s and saw them goddamn left, rights, and nigga, I almost had a fit. I stopped fucking with stereos after that. They got too complicated for me. Now you got EQs and you got bass boosters and you got no. We didn't have no sounds, Doc. We didn't have no sounds.
Oh, okay. Art has a great question. He says, Lonzo, did your DJ set have any special accessories like an echo chamber or beatbox drum machine?
I didn't have a beatbox drum machine, but every once in a while I would rent a Echoplex. Echoplex. Oh man, y'all making me go back to some crazy technology. Echoplex was basically a tape recorder. If you made a sound, it would automatically loop and play it back. And depending on how fast you played it, you had how fast the speed was, it will determine how fast it came back. If you played it down slow, it hello. You sped it up, hello. Technology. I only could put it on either on my microphone or on one side of my speaker because it wasn't stereo. And then I started using phase shifters. I would go because I'm renting my equipment from a music store. So I tried the phase shifters on my voice. I tried fucking echo chambers. I tried phase shifters and wah-wah pedals. I tried all kind of shit. I used to play a cowbell along with the music. I'd be playing cowbell sometime, and I had one of them little vibra slaps that are. If you ever hear the record slide, doom, 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 it's like a little. It's a real simple thing. But I had a whole little mini percussion thing that I would fuck around with when I'm DJing because I got bored. We didn't do a bunch of scratching and shit. So I'm playing a little cowbell, a little vibra slap, had a tambourine and whistles and shit. That was my sound effects.
There you go. You mentioned a few names on that interview with Cypress Hills, Be Real, Dr. Green Thumb Show. You mentioned a few names that you feel were left out of Straight Outta Compton that you felt should have been in there. You said JJ Fad, Michelle A, and Laylaw. Let's start with JJ Fad. Why do you feel they should have been in Straight Outta Compton?
Laylaw, JJ Fad was one of the reasons why they made that. That was their first platinum record. They bought the single Supersonic from my man Rudy, who was my partner at West Coast, took that, wrapped the album around it. The album went platinum. And that was a lot of the funding for Ruthless Records came from that JJ Fad deal. That was the main reason why. You know, they never had another single. You don't know no other songs from JJ Fad. You might know Another Hole, but you don't know a whole bunch of other things. There's a song in Beverly Hills Cop 3 when they at Wonder World, and JJ Fad got a song playing in the background when Eddie Murphy is doing something with that Roger Rabbit exhibit, and you'll hear EAZY E rapping on this JJ Fad track. Other than that, I never heard the record no place else in my life.
All right, so that's JJ Fad. You felt also that Michelle A should have at least been mentioned in Straight Outta Compton. Why Michelle A?
Same reason. Michelle A went over there and went platinum over at ADCO. You know, they had, that was one they again. That was another one of their first major selling records, R&B wise. Those two acts right there showed the versatility for Ruthless Records. They both of them were on Atlantic, if I ain't mistaken, with the Ruthless imprint. Then later they got a distribution deal, and those were the Posse album on Priority got them some money, but I don't think that shit went platinum till later on. But because Makola, no, because it was the EP. They grabbed it, went over to Priority, did some decent numbers. I don't know if and how long it took them to go gold, but JJ Fad and Michelle A both did very good numbers and brought a lot of revenue to the Ruthless camp.
And lastly, Laylaw, may he rest in peace. Someone you knew very personally, but you also felt that he should have been brought up in Straight Outta Compton. And that's a name that a lot of people don't know. Talk to us about Laylaw and why you felt he should have been mentioned.
Laylaw was my dude, man. I brought Laylaw into the camp. I met him at Makola Records. He had a label called Rolex Records. And Laylaw was the coolest, smoothest cat you ever want to meet. He was in the game, but he was trying to get out. And he was a hell of a writer, though. He was a hell of a writer. A lot of that stuff on Michele's album was written by Laylaw. Laylaw and L.A. Dre were like the R&B backbones of Ruthless Records. Dre did a lot of work, but keyboard-wise, they was all L.A. Dre, standing guitar man, Laylaw, and somebody else were kind of driving forces behind that R&B section and even the musical section overall of the whole Ruthless camp.
There it is, Laylaw, man. R.I.P. Tell us about buying your first studio and getting advice from your elders on things like practice at home. Don't practice in the studio. Come to studio ready to record and knock out your vocals. And maybe give everybody an idea of, just how expensive it was to record and why you should do everything at home before you get there.
My first studio was a 4-track. I bought it from Western Day Music. They had a special. It was a Roland 4-track with a Roland bass line. I think it was a TR 303 and a 606 drum machine. The most difficult drum machine I've ever had in my it was like a miniature 808, but it was harder. We didn't know nothing about drum machines, so to have to push buttons to make shit work was difficult as fuck. But I bought the machine, I bought the unit so that we could have something to make our mix records on, our mega mixers on. And I had it at my studio. I had it at my house for a while. And then later, I started making some money, and I bought a Kai MG1212. That was the shit for a while because it used it was 12 tracks as opposed to 4 or 8, but you had to use one track for a SMPTE, which was the control track for driving all the MIDI gear. And it worked out. We did a couple of projects on that. That was dope. And I bought a 16 track. Again, I was always taught by my people to rehearse at home, get everything you can out of your musicians. There wasn't nobody programming yet. We was some of the first cats to go to the studio without musicians, especially in the States. They still playing guitars and they still got the right charts and shit. We ain't got nan chart yet. So we went in the studio with Daniel Sulfur for a while to do Juice's surgery. I saw what he was using. I wouldn't bought the shit. That's all. I wouldn't brought it home. So now we got time to take our time on our own, at our own leisure, to learn how to use this equipment, program it, take the equipment to the studio, plug it up, and drop our album. And we'd already done demos at the house. Even at my house, like I think I said to Dr. Green Thumb, I got a studio in my house, complete studio that used to record bands. I got a control room, and I got a huge room where I'm sitting at right now. But this is a capacity to hold a small orchestra. I'm not bullshitting. The wall behind me, it's another 300 square feet behind me right now. But back in the day, you had to have this kind of spacing because you didn't want the drums up under the vocalist, and because you didn't want all that bleed. So they had to space shit out and put little barricades around different stuff. And that was how this shit was done. But if you ever come to my house, next time you come to my house, Dusty, we'll go in my garage, and you'll see in my garage on the walls, it's these little dots, excuse me, little dots. And I was like trying to figure out what they was for. And what they were for was soundproofing tiles they had put in the studio, in the garage, because when they were making the albums back here, they'd go in the garage to rehearse before they came to the studio to record. Because you don't come to the studio at $100 an hour practicing unless you want to get your ass fired. James Brown would fire you on the spot for missing your shit. James Brown was notorious for finding you, or if you find it, he would find you, or you could find in the session for not hitting your notes. And they didn't have 96 tracks. They only had 8, maybe 16. Everybody going down at the same time, the bass, the guitar, the drums, the singer, everybody in the room at the same time. Background singer to the left, singer in the middle, guitar on one side, bass on another, drummer in the middle, and everybody is playing. That's why you got such unique feels, because everybody was in the moment, man. You got in the moment, and people got certain vibes. You know, when you're doing something live, man, your whole vibe changes completely. You feel it. You got energy. Everybody's energy is in this room, and they start doing shit they normally wouldn't do if they was by themselves.
Do you know what it went into to find a sample on a record? I guess the best phrase is digging in the crates, going to the record store, putting the record in, and just finding that 1.3 seconds that you could loop over and over, or whatever the case is. Did you ever do that? Was that something that you did?
I never really did that, but I know Dre did. He would go out to this record store on Santa Monica called the Record Depot. And this dude, it was a private collection of a store. A guy had a store of just all kind of records, man. It wasn't even for sale. It wasn't even for sale. But people would go, it's like a record library almost. And he had turntables in there, and you can just play different shit. Drop your needle and see what you like. Just drop your needle. And sometimes he'd be in there days, man, trying to find the perfect sample. Rumor has it he was trying to buy the place at one time. The guy wouldn't sell it to him. But it was a question. Something I want to address right quick. I saw in the
Which one was it? Was it the catalog deal?
No, it was Martoni.
About the what?
Rad 7 got a question about, do I remember Martoni's restaurant?
Oh, I didn't even see that one. Oh, yeah. Sure, yeah, no. Go ahead.
Yes, I remember I was there. Martoni's was on the Gower, and it was a Italian restaurant right there for Sunset. And I think it was the Gower or Hyden, one of the two. It's not there anymore. But that's where we had our West Coast record meetings at. It was close to McCullough, up in Hollywood. And that's what we gave Jerry Heller his ultimatum at Martoni's. Martoni's had a room in the back that was like something out of the Godfather movies. And Martoni's was a real Godfather type restaurant. Okay, allegedly a couple of folks got smoked there back in the day, but they had this room in the back that you had to reserve, and we loved to reserve this room. We had a little bit of money, so we could, we playing baller and shit, and that's what we had our meeting with Jerry Heller at. And in his book, he called the meeting bullshit. We called the meeting. We were the ones that was dissatisfied because nobody was really with the bitches and hoes that EAZY them was putting down at that time. People forget, man, this shit did not get accepted overnight. That shit was a fight. It was a struggle. It was a nigger right struggle. It was a nigger right struggle. Niggas had to fight for the right to be niggas. And we wasn't with it. And we called the meeting with me, Rudy, Unknown, Adrian Gregory, who later became the manager of Tupac and Digital Underground, who was also my manager at the time, my road manager. Jerry Heller, Egyptian Lover, and his girlfriend, Lisa, who was running his label, the Egyptian Empire, with us at West Coast Record Distributors. And we just let it be known, hey man, we can't condone this shit, man. And we gave him an ultimatum. He chose them. I couldn't go nowhere. I was kind of quiet because I still had another 6 months on my contract with Jerry as my manager. Okay, I had another 6 months, whatever it was. So me and Adrian got super cool. He's working with me on my label, and McCullough was pretty much out of business. But I'm selling records big time because I got my whole catalog from McCullough before he shut down, and I had to start. I started selling records through West Coast, but I also had my own. Me and Unknown had our own little distribution thing here at the pad called Pacific Coast for a minute. Bottom line, we called the meeting. And Jerry tried his best to convince us that he would be a lot more powerful if we stayed with him. We said, man, that's going to hurt our imagery in our own community, though. We can't condone bitches and hoes and all this bullshit, and it's still look folks in the face. Again, at some point in time, money made some people from the community turn their blind eye to it, but that was our stance on it. We dance promoters, we boogie folks, we having a good time. We Jerry curl wearing cats with hard sole shoes and slacks and shit, and we ain't, we're not prepared mentally to become or support the thug shit. We knew the impact. We got people dying every day from this shit, and it wasn't something we was gonna get behind. And he gracefully he bowed out gracefully and got behind EAZY E. He said he wanted us to all join Ruthless Records. Why would we do that? Why would we even consider joining Ruthless Records? We got our own distribution company. We have our own distribution company. We made $1 million the first year. We had Rodney O and Joe Cooley's album. We had King T's first album, JJ Fad's Supersonic. We had Compton's Most Wanted, the Compton compilation. We had Egyptian Empire's catalog. So we was doing big things already independently. We did it before Suge and Jay Prince and Jay-Z them got together long before they thought about doing that shit. We'd already done it independently. Independent. That's why I was saying it was always two different records. It was always two different record industries. There was your majors and your independents. We work with the independent distributors, the one-stops and the independent distributors, because every region had its own independent. Sony had theirs. Sometimes, depending on who the independent was, they may be able to buy from Sony also. But that didn't stop them from buying from us. And they would buy from us, especially if we had hot shit. Our shit coming out fast. Independent majors come out slower. They put more money behind the shit, but we can have a regional hit and everybody can get paid before the majors even get their goddamn marketing plan together. And that's what it was for a long time. And eventually, a lot of those distributors either got bought up or went out of business. Same thing with radio stations. Same thing I said on Dr. Green Thumbs. You either had P1s and P2s. P1s were your high-end radio stations like Kiss FM, Power 106. They all P1s, but you got P2s, which is your mom and pop station in the cornfield that will play your shit just to have you come to town. Little to no money invested. You may have a local hit. Wreckin Cru did a lot of interviews in cornfields and shit. Okay? Corn for real, passing by. Look at that goddamn cow taking the shit. That kind of stuff. Stuff we never seen before. A locust, fucking swarm of locusts. We driving to a swarm of goddamn locusts to go to the goddamn radio station. You got you got grasshoppers all over your ass. Man, shit was crazy. That's real shit, Doc.
Hell nah, man. Man, great show. That flew by. Lonzo, any last words before you hit him with that outro?
Oh man, you know how we do it, Doc. Just support my documentary Eve After Dark on Tubi, YouTube, and Amazon, and look for N.W.A. because it ain't without me, it ain't going down, folks. All right,
hit them.
For those who never heard of me, I'm the first one to put Dr. Dre in the surgery, stuck an ice cube in the freezer till he got cold on the Eve After Dark, 50-yard line to Super Bowl. In the movie Straight Outta Compton, they played me like a hater of rap. Don't believe that Hollywood bullshit because it was all cap. My history goes deeper than you will ever know. Just remember that N.W.A. stands for not without Alonzo. Peace, y'all.